So, hello there, everyone. My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks.
Hello, I'm James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James, and you have come to Lighting the Way. Granny raps and she rocks. So stay with us, do chat with us, and Beth can respond to you live in person if you're here live in person.
Yes, and I hope to. Oh no, the internet. I hope to rap and rock about a very important topic tonight, which is when is it time to call it quits? And you know, that obviously applies to relationships. You're like, oh, is it time to go? And it can also, let me see if I can get James a bit more in the picture. And it can apply to a job. It can apply to a political party. It can apply to pretty much anything. But I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to tell you whether you should quit or stick it out. Okay, we have a comment.
Yes, Amy is here, and she says, hi, Beth and James. Thank you for a wonderful topic. It
Ooh.
sends hearts of love.
Thank you. So I'm not going to tell you what to do.
And Tracy is here, and she says hello and gives a big wave hello.
Excellent. Hi there, Tracy, too. So happy to see you also. Yes. So I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to give you some of my thoughts about how to handle that question for yourself. And the first thing I want to say is that's the dog that's trying to tear up the carpet. I was just laughing because I was thinking, is it time to quit on growing my hair because it's so wild? But no, I'm not going to stop yet.
And Karen is here and says hi, you too, and sends a heart of love.
Oh, so glad you made it in the beginning, Karen.
And Elizabeth is here and says hi. And
hello, everybody. Well, what a wonderful, warm group you are
Catalina
already.
Says buenas.
Oh,
Hello,
buenas to you too. Buenas noches over here. For some people, it's the mañana. So, and welcome to everybody on Facebook and YouTube, where we are, sending out simultaneously. Okay, so the first thing I want to say about this topic is there's a lot of depth to it. When should you say, okay, I've had enough? When should you persevere, push on? Okay. The first thing I want to say is it's not about them. What do you mean it's not about them?
I thought it was always about them.
What I mean by it's not about them is something only realized about 5 minutes ago as I... How many of us... Now, I'm going to talk a lot about relationships. Marriages, relationships. James, leave it. No, honey. Honey, that's just off the screen. Okay.
Oh.
It's fine. Thank you.
Me.
Yeah, you see, that's
see
it.
that now.
Okay, so I think we all say, oh, I don't want to do this to him. Or I have to leave because he's feeling so bad. I'm making him feel bad, and so I should go. Why? Why should you go because he feels bad? Or why should you stay because you think he needs you? Or she does. Or they do. And this could be at a job too. It's like, oh, I can't leave this company because, oh, they need me. And, So the first principle that I would like to put forward is it's not about them, it's about us. And once you get that, everything about this topic changes and begins to fall into place. So, for example, and by the way, I'm only speaking to people who have freedom over their decisions. Obviously, people who are in bondage can't decide. But most of us have some freedom to make decisions, even if it's tough. Even, I mean, lots of times we have, oh no, I can't do that. I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to get, I'm going to go run out of money. I'm going to, all this stuff. I don't even want to deal with that. I don't know if you're going to run out of money or not because I don't even know what your situation is. But now that we've got this principle, it's not about them, it's about us. First thing I'm asking, if you're looking at maybe I should stay, have you told the truth? If you haven't told the truth, you probably shouldn't leave. What do I mean? You haven't confronted him, her, them, whomever. And you've been sitting there hanging out, going, and you haven't told the truth. You haven't told them what you're feeling and what's going on, right? Now, not only may you not have told the truth, but you may have lied even to yourself. Who, me? I never lie to myself. Never! I know exactly what I'm thinking and I don't lie to myself. Oh, come on. Especially when you look at the political situation, you say, oh my God, how many people are lying to themselves about this, about that? They don't even want to say what it is that they are thinking. So you're not telling the truth. You may say, oh, I really agree with her 90%, but you're not saying, yeah, but I think she did avoid that question. You're not going to do that. You're going to have to paper over whatever is bothering you because you're not telling the truth. So you have no freedom over your decisions if you do not tell the truth. And if you have lied to yourself, it's even worse. Another thing you have to ask yourself if you're wondering whether or not to stay is, have you listened? Oh, no. Listened to the other side. Never do we want to be influenced by the other side. They might have an opinion that's different from ours.
Right, and we're obviously right, so why even listen?
Indeed. And so I'm talking about in a relationship, the other side could be your husband, your wife, your other, your whatever, your mom, your daughter. Have you actually listened? So we haven't told the truth. We've lied to ourselves and we haven't listened. My goodness. Well, what does that tell us? I think maybe we should stay. Now, if someone is being obviously abusive, they broke my jaw last week, I think it's time to leave. So I'm not talking about situations where it's already very obvious that you should be leaving and you're just sitting there dawdling around because you're too scared to get off your ass and face life. I can't believe I'm being so rude to our wonderful audience. So
You're telling it like it is.
I guess I am. So maybe you haven't listened. Maybe you haven't listened to what your partner is really trying to say. Maybe you have found the thing that they have to say that you can make fun of, that you can mock. And it's always easy to mock people, right? It means that they say something, you can make them look stupid, right? So that's not listening. That's taking what they say and twisting it around. So have you listened? Okay, another question you have to ask yourself about whether or not to stay, especially when you don't want to, is, have you examined your own behavior and tried to change already? Now, the answers to these questions may be, yeah, I have listened. I have told the truth. I have examined my own behavior. I've tried to change. I mean, that's good to know. This is like a little inventory to go through about yourself. So, but if you haven't examined your own behavior and tried to change, maybe this isn't the right time to leave. Maybe you should try doing that first. And another question to look at about whether or not to stay is, are you still growing? You know, I was in a relationship a long time ago that was very uncomfortable and hard. And I kept, saying to God, well, shouldn't I leave? Shouldn't I leave? Shouldn't I leave? And now I heard, well, are you still growing? And I said, yeah, I'm still growing. He said, well, then, don't leave. Eventually, we did break up. But it wasn't the right time because I was still growing. And there was something that was incomplete that I was working through. So these are things that you can look at about a relationship, about a job, about a political party, a group, even a behavior like I'm still smoking weed. Do they call it weed anymore? I don't know. I'm too far behind in the lingo. But you know what I'm saying. Am I being honest with myself? Have I told myself the truth? Have I listened to my body? Am I listening to my brain? Have I tried to examine my own behavior when I'm smoking pot, weed, marijuana, whatever you call it in this day and age? Are you growing while you're smoking? Right? Or are you smoked out? So, these same questions, you see, can really apply to a lot of things now. I've been talking about maybe you should stay under these circumstances. Now, let's take a look at maybe you should leave. One thing is, are you compromising your values by staying there? So you're with a guy, if it happens to be, you happen to be, you could be a woman or a man, you're with a guy who is pushing drugs, pimping out women, engaged in sex trafficking. So you don't have to go through, have I examined my own behavior and tried to change, do you? Am I still growing? I think, in a situation like that, you say, I am compromising my values. I'm done. I don't like this group. They are exploiting children. I don't like this group. They are revving people up against helpless people, immigrants, and so on, that they're pushing racism. These are not my values. So am I compromising my values by staying in this relationship? And a lot of people do. Like, oh yeah, my partner's making lots of money and we're living in a nice house and I really like that swimming pool and I'm just saving up. I'm getting a nest egg. What's happening to you? Because remember what I said to you in the beginning. I said it's not about them. It's about you. So you can look at them and say, oh my God, look at what they are doing. But, I have my reasons, But the question is, it's about you. What is happening to you by being in a relationship with somebody or some group of people who are compromising your values if you are willing to not lie to yourself? See what I mean?
Yep.
You might be with a group of people who just talk a lot of airy-fairy stuff. You know in your gut it's not true, but you like them, and it gives you companionship and all of that. And so you can say, yeah, but do I really believe this? Or am I only pretending that I believe it so that I can stay here? Okay, so now you are you're caught in a situation where you are letting yourself be abused. Then you complain about it, and you're still doing it, and you're not going through the steps that I talked about in the earlier part about, well, maybe you should stay. I mean, have you already told the truth? Are you lying to yourself? Have you listened to the other person? Have you examined your own behavior and tried to change? So, it's very easy to say, oh, they're abusing me, they're abusing me, they're abusing me. If you have already done those things, or if the abuse is outrageous, you have a black eye, but if you have done all those things, if you realize that you have been lying to yourself, oh, he really loves me, or you haven't seen that you goad this person, you wait till they're drunk, and then you say terrible things to them and shoot them with a BB gun, they might, kind of create a fuss. So you have to look at all those behaviors to see whether you are, in fact, the innocent abusee, or you're part of the mutual abuse. And if you are part of the mutual abuse, then I guess you have to look at yourself and examine your own behavior and do all those good things, right? Another thing that will tell you that maybe it's time to go. Again, it doesn't matter if this is a job or a relationship. I'm talking a lot about relationships because we've all tended to either be in them, even if they're just friendships. We're with a bunch of school kids who are abusive to other people. This happens, Are we being honest with ourselves? Are we compromising our values, pretending that this is okay with us? Okay, now.
Or have you outgrown those old friendships?
Exactly.
You no longer have the same values.
That's right. That's a very good point. Have your values changed and you're still clinging? So, of course, I'm not talking about the reasons that we cling here, like, fear of ostracism, being alone, and all that stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about us taking a look at this question when we are at that turning point of what do we do? Okay. Another sign that you should probably go. You can't look yourself in the mirror. You know what I'm talking about. You are going along with things that are demeaning to other people. You're going along with things that are demeaning to you. Getting high and pretending none of this is happening. You hate yourself. Why am I putting up with this? Why am I staying? Yeah, I need a job. But isn't it possible that there'll be another one? Why am I taking abuse from an abusive boss? Or from a person who is abusive to other people in the company? So you see, then you go back to the things I talked about before. Have you told the truth? Have you told the abusive boss? The abusive group, the so-called friends. Your partner. Have you told them the truth about what you actually think of them? And when I say you haven't told the truth, I mean, have you told them the truth of what you really feel about them and what you think of them? And people say, oh no, I couldn't do that. No, I'm going to hurt his feelings. I'm going to hurt his feelings. It doesn't matter that he's been beating you up. No, I can't hurt his feelings. Come on. You're not telling the truth about how you feel. And I'm going to tell you something about that. When you don't tell people the truth about how you feel about them, guess what?
They feel it anyway.
Exactly. They feel it anyway. They don't feel put down necessarily but by what you say, although sometimes that is the case. But a lot of times they are feeling put down because of what you are thinking, what you are feeling, and you're not saying, but oh, I can't say that because I can't hurt his feelings, right? You're not being honest. If that person can't hear what you really feel and what you really think, see, one of the dangers of actually telling somebody what you really feel and what you really think is they may tell you what they really think and feel about you. God forbid. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? You're opening the door and then you have to listen. Well, if you're listening to me, you're in number one. You know, if you have freedom of your decisions when to stay, is you haven't yet told the truth, you have lied to yourself, you haven't listened, you haven't examined your own behavior and tried to change, and you are still growing, so maybe you should stay, right? Well, you still have to practice all those principles, don't you? And if you don't tell people the truth of what you're thinking and feeling about them, and they feel it anyway, they can't even answer you. They can't defend themselves because they don't know. It's all happening on the unconscious, subliminal phase. Or it's in a gesture or in a look or something like that. So, the next thing that is a sign that you should get the hell out of there, you are deteriorating. See, a lot of times when people are abused, they came in not feeling very good about themselves, but after month and year after year, they could be getting lower and lower, feeling less good about themselves because they've been told. It's like this happens to kids all the time because they can't get out of there. You know, they hear the same kind of negative stuff about them constantly from their parents or from other kids or from the school or from the society. Racism, sexism, all that stuff. So you're getting these messages all the time, right? And it's really hard to fight back. But if you are in a relationship and you're an adult, you have some possibility, some agency, as they call it. If you see that you are deteriorating in a relationship, you better seriously think about getting out. What does the deterioration look like? It can be you are losing confidence. You are losing self-esteem. You are losing a sense of reality. You know, it's like, oh, did I really do that? Was I really guilty of that? Did he really not say that? You know, you can deteriorate in so many ways. You can lose self-love. You can see yourself getting sicker and sicker and sicker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And whew. So now, I'm going to take a moment to pause because the punchline is yet to come. If you're on Facebook, please like or love this show. If you are on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up. Please share this show with a lot of people, your friends and your family. Spread this knowledge, because people need this. It's very practical for people to be thinking about how to approach this question, so you don't just feel like, oh, I don't know what to do. I love it. Anyway, so And I'm going to close in a minute, but I have to tell you something really important at the end. But I just wanted to get this out of the way. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the notification button and follow our page on Facebook. And come back every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Granny Raps and Rocks, lighting the way. And it looks like someone said something, James.
Here's a big comment here. Amy says, I was in a relationship with someone who would periodically pull back. And by my not coming out and asking him if that was indeed what he was doing and how it made me feel, I just ended up thinking something was wrong with me.
That's right. Could you talk a little louder?
Confidence.
Right, exactly. And that'll go bye-bye. Very good. Okay, so, oh yes, and tomorrow night we have a music program, Magical Improvs. James sings, I play the piano, it's all music. We love it. That's at 7 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays. This show is at 6:30 Pacific time on Wednesdays. So, bottom line, what has improved in you during this relationship? What has deteriorated? Sometimes we feel unhappy in a relationship. Sometimes we are just unhappy people. We're always unhappy, permanent grump. But sometimes we feel really uncomfortable.
How do you weigh them if you have both improved and declined in different areas?
This is a very important question. I just want to finish this point about what has improved in you. For instance, I had to look at relationships where I was uncomfortable, but something in me improved. I became more of a fighter. I became more honest. I became more willing to speak truth to power. Right? She's saying, James, speak up.
James, please speak up.
I was noticing that too, James.
Okay.
So in that case, I can say definitively in all of those ways, I have improved. Or I'm becoming more meek. I'm becoming more shy. I'm feeling more downtrodden. I'm getting more and more cut off from people. My friends, I don't have any friends. Then, something sounds like you should get out of there. But the question is, as you are looking at this and trying to measure it out at the end, do you foresee more growth in this relationship? Or do you think that it has reached its peak? And see, like I told you, I can't tell you. Especially in a situation like this, I don't know what's going on for you. But do you foresee more growth? Do you see that as you continue, you are speaking, you are listening, you are examining your own behavior, you're still growing, and the other person is too. If the other person isn't meeting you halfway, you probably have maxed out that relationship. Yeah, I got a lot out of it. I really learned a lot, but it's the relationship itself is not improving. So I did say focus on you, and I did mean that. Focus on you, whether you're growing or not. But then you also ultimately have to decide whether this relationship is worth it, obviously, but also, is the relationship growing and changing? Do you foresee more growth and the possibilities of more happiness? Then it might be right for you to stay and work on it a little bit more. So, I hope you enjoyed this program. I put out a lot of information, some of which you may or may not like. But I do want you to give us a thumbs up anyway, even if you didn't like it. If you thought it was valuable, made you think, that's a good thing. And remember, it's not about them, it's about you. It's about whether you are growing, whether you are thriving, whether you are shrinking, whether you're becoming disgusted with yourself. These are all really, really important questions. And you will have to answer that for yourself, James. You know, are you growing or are you really shrinking? And so I wish all of you good fortune with this. I know this is a very difficult topic, and I wish you all well. And thank you for listening, for liking our show and showing up. And come back again next Wednesday night for Lighting the Way. Granny Raps and Rocks. Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming.